I've already gone on record on more than one occasion to vouch for Assassin's Creed 3, a game that I genuinely believe is underrated, like really underrated. But of course, a game is only as good as its protagonist and the decision that he or she makes throughout the course of the story. Connor Kenway definitely made some bold decisions during his brief run at the top of the franchise, but one decision he always remained true to was his decision to remain an assassin. Despite the fact that his father was a Templar Grand Master and that George Washington killed his mother instead of his prime suspect Charles Lee, Connor stayed with the Brotherhood and helped to repair the damage that had been done to the American branch during the events of Assassin's Creed Rogue. But what if Connor didn't stay true to the Assassins? What if in an alternate timeline, Haytham had gotten through to his son and convinced him that joining the Templars was what would be best for both him and America? In short, what if Connor joined the Templars? I initially struggled to find the ideal time that I could imagine Connor leaving his beliefs behind in favor of the Father of Understanding. In the end, the only plausible point in the game I could imagine would be right after discovering George Washington killed his mother and had sent troops to once again destroy his village. Haytham offers to help Connor, and Connor agrees in this timeline, not wanting his home to be destroyed again. After the dust settles, Haytham uses these events to convince Connor that freedom and the fight to obtain it aren't worth it in the grand scheme of things, and that only through control can true peace be achieved. Connor has just has complete confidence in the Patriots, just completely shocked, and so, despite his hesitation, he in the end agrees. Haytham and Connor return to New York, and Connor is officially inducted into the Templar Order. Connor doesn't know what to tell Achilles, but in the end he doesn't have to since Achilles dies peacefully in his sleep. So of course the first major obstacle of Connor becoming a Templar is the continued presence of one Charles Lee. Charles is absolutely incensed at Haytham for bringing their worst enemy into the Order, and he threatens to kill Connor in revenge for the other Templars that he killed before. Haytham intervenes and insists that his skills can be put to better use. Charles once again insists that Connor should be taken care of, and so Haytham pulls rank on Charles and threatens to kill him if he lays a hand on his son again. Of course, Charles doesn't listen and tries killing Connor in his sleep. Haytham expected this, however, and so as much as he doesn't want to, he kills Charles Lee. He kills his best friend in order to protect his son. If Connor still had doubts about Haytham, they're officially silenced after this incident. With a major vacancy left unfilled in the colonial right, and the American Revolution coming to a close in favor of the rebels, Haytham looks to find Charles' replacement in order to reaffirm control of this new country. Luckily for him, Shay Cormac still completes his mission to reobtain the precursor box from the assassin Charles Dorian in Versailles. You might recall that Haytham was the one who sent Shay on that mission in the first place, but with Haytham dead, he didn't really have anyone to report to. However, in this timeline, Connor doesn't kill Haytham, so Shay reports to Haytham. Haytham then asks for Shay to return to America with the precursor box, and along with Connor, the Templars' control over the newly founded United States is solidified for good. So following this devastating trio manages to successfully suppress any and all attempts at an assassin uprising, and they even kill notable remaining assassins on the continent, such as Aveline de Grand Prix, though not without Connor trying to convince her to join them. Even when Connor becomes a Templar, he would still stay true to himself, and he tries to end conflicts reasonably if possible. Haytham would also see value in Aveline's talents, and Shay, of course, he doesn't really want to kill anybody if he doesn't have to. But despite their efforts, Aveline remains loyal to the Brotherhood and dies an assassin. Around this time, Connor and Shay both presumably find love interest of their own and have children. Assuming that Connor still has at least one daughter and Shay still has a son, or vice versa, they eventually grow up to marry one another, and this helps establish a long-lasting Templar dynasty over the United States. So now we're in the modern day, and if Desmond Miles is still born, he'd likely be born into the Templar Order, and as such would instead volunteer to use the Animus instead of being captured by Abstergo like in our timeline. Through the Animus, the Templars obtain the artifacts that they need, since the modern day assassins were admittedly a bit weak, no offense. So in essence, the Templars achieve victory over the assassins for good. The Templars use their artifacts to gain control of humanity's actions and bring about a long-lasting peace. Well, that is until they start fighting each other for power. Despite there being genuinely good Templars, there are definitely people who only join for power, and so a large-scale Templar civil war breaks out, which leaves the world in just absolute chaos. Imagine a fight between gods, essentially. Eventually, the Order either dies off from their own war, taking humanity along with it, or one Templar remains who acts as a god over everybody else. So in short, Connor joining the Templars would lead to the last of the assassins being snuffed out, the Templars to gain permanent control over America, all the pieces of Eden being found, and the very likely eventual annihilation of all mankind through corruption and war.